Hello all, I welcome you to the course on Basic Thermodynamics. I am Professor Chethana G D, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. And later I will be joined with my colleague Professor Puneet Kumar SB from Mechanical Engineering Department. So today we are going to discuss on Basic Thermodynamics. Basically we are discussing the overview, syllabus, course outcome, textbooks and reference books. So before going on to discuss what these topics, we will have to look at what exactly we mean by thermodynamics. Actually, thermodynamics is derived from two Greek words, that is therm and dynamics, where therm means heat and dynamics means power. So that means we are trying to relate between, or we are trying to convert heat into power. This definition is descriptive of the earlier definition of thermodynamics. However, today thermodynamics means most of the energy transformations. So any energy transformations can be linked to thermodynamics. So all the energy transformations which we talk about in any of the engineering devices or even in our daily life, they all will fall under the roof of thermodynamics. So then can we define what thermodynamics is? Yes, the definition is thermodynamics is a science of energy transfer and its effects on physical properties. The physical properties means the properties which we can observe. For example, if you heat a fluid, the temperature is the property which we are looking for. So the temperature rises. Similarly, there can be a volume or temperature. So we do observe the properties change. So that is what is the definition of thermodynamics. It is the science of energy transfer and its effect on physical properties of the system. So now looking at this definition, so which is the what is the scope of thermodynamics we can talk about? The scope of thermodynamics are, in other words, you can talk it as like the applications of thermodynamics. So before going on to the engineering applications, we can talk about the daily life scenarios where we encounter thermodynamics. A simple example can be our body itself, where the energy transformation occurs. For example, we take the food in, the metabolic reaction happens in our body and we do generate the heat, and that heat is dissipated through our skin. So this, the dissipation of heat is continuous process, and this is, of course, we try to make ourselves comfortable by adjusting the clothing. So without even having the knowledge of thermodynamics, we are making use of it. That is one thing which we need to remember. See, one more examples which we can take is, if you have a laptop or a computer, the fan which is there in the laptop or computer, the main purpose is to take out the heat from that particular place. So the location where it has to be placed, or the size of the fan, or the electrical input which needs to be given to that fan, they are decided by the principle of thermodynamics itself. So now the applications are quite clear. The engineering applications, if you try to look, the engineering applications can be the steam power plant or nuclear power plant, the refrigerator systems, air conditioning systems, compressors, IC engines, they all will come under the platform of thermodynamics. So basically we have laws which are there in the thermodynamics: zeroth law, first law of thermodynamics and second law of thermodynamics. They are all formulated by observing the nature. It is not like it is different from what you have studied. For example, first law of thermodynamics is simply the law of conservation of energy, which we already know. That is, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be transferred from one form to the other form. Similarly, two more laws are also of the same kind, which is formulated by observing the nature. So they are quite simple only. So we basically in thermodynamics study these things. So in basic thermodynamics especially, we do study the basics of thermodynamics, which we will discuss in respective modules. So if we look at the syllabus, we have module 1, which is fundamental concepts and definition. In module 2, we have work and heat and first law of thermodynamics. In module 3, second law of thermodynamics and entropy. In module 4, we have availability, irreversibility and general thermodynamic relations and few substance. In module 5, you have ideal gases and real gases. So the textbook which we have to refer is Basic and Applied Thermodynamics by P.K. Nag and Basic Engineering Thermodynamics by A. Venkatesh. And the reference book is Thermodynamics, an Engineering Approach by Yunus A. Senegal. Now if you look at the course outcomes, first one is explain fundamentals of thermodynamics and evaluate energy interactions across the boundary of thermodynamic systems. Course outcome 2, evaluate the feasibility of cyclic and non-cyclic processes using second law of thermodynamics. Third one, apply the knowledge of entropy, reversibility and irreversibility to solve numerical problem and apply first law of thermodynamics to closed and open systems and determine quantity of energy transfers and change in properties. Fourth one, interpret the behavior of pure substances and its applications in practical problems. Fifth one, recognize differences between ideal and real gases and evaluate thermodynamic properties of ideal and real gas mixtures using various relations. I welcome you all to this session on thermodynamics. Today we are covering the first module, that is fundamental concepts and definitions. So the topics which we are going to speak today is microscopic and macroscopic approach, the definition of systems and types of systems. So first, in the last class what we had studied was the definition of thermodynamics, which stated that it is a science of energy transfer and its effect on physical properties of the system, and we also studied the scope of thermodynamics, in engineering applications especially. Okay. So for examples which we stated that the steam power plant or nuclear power plant, it can be IC engines, it can be refrigerations, air conditioning systems, compressor, they are all the applications of thermodynamics only. So in today's class, we will study about the microscopic approach and macroscopic approach first. So if you consider, we already know that any matter is made up of number of small particles which we call it as molecules. Now you see these the behavior of the matter depends upon the behavior of these molecules. Okay. So if you want to study any systems in thermodynamics, we can have or we can study that particular system based on two approaches. One is microscopic approach, which is also called as statistical thermodynamics, and the other can be a macroscopic approach, which is also called as classical thermodynamics. So here the word itself is evident that it is looked at micro scale, whereas this is a macro scale. So now if you consider, if you try to study behavior of any matter, it made up of number of molecules. So many number of molecules will be there, and each molecules at a given time will have a space coordinate, will have its position, will have its velocity, and will have its energy. Now if you look at just 1 mm cube, 1 millimeter cube of any gas will have 10 to the power of 16 molecules at standard temperature and pressure conditions. So now if you are looking at it as a microscopic level, this is what you end up with. So there will be at any given point of time, each molecule will have its position, its velocity and its energy. So now if you are looking at microscopic approach, you are trying to study the behavior at the microscopic level. I mean to say, I would like to sum up the behavior based on how each molecule behaves. So this approach of thermodynamics is concerned with the gross or overall behavior of the matter. I mean to say, the summed up behavior of all molecules I am going to consider. Whereas on the other hand, macroscopic approach, we are not bothered about the events which are occurring at the molecular level. In this approach, a certain quantity of matter is considered without taking into account the events occurring at molecular level. So obviously, the data which I will have to study in microscopic approach will be very high, because you see the number of data which I have to handle for just 1 millimeter cube of gas. It will be 10 to the power of 16 molecules. So each molecules, if you try to specify the position, velocity and its energy, it becomes a huge data. The second difference can be the behavior of the system is found by using statistical methods, as the number of molecules is very large. On the other hand, for macroscopic approach, this analysis requires only simple mathematical formulas. Third one, as large number of variables are needed to describe a system, this approach is complicated. On the other hand, in order to describe a system, only few properties are needed. So this is quite simple as compared to microscopic approach. Fourth one, these effects cannot be perceived by human senses. So whatever the properties which we try to find out in microscopic approach, they cannot be perceived by human senses. For example, in macroscopic approach, this can be perceived by human senses. The examples are here only. Properties like velocity, momentum, kinetic energy, these are all at the molecular level which we are speaking. Force of impact, etc. are studied in this approach. Whereas on the macroscopic approach, the properties like pressure, temperature can be measured. As we said, these are all the properties which can be sensed by human senses. At last, you can write it as it is also known as statistical thermodynamics, and on the other hand, it is also known as classical thermodynamics. However, for engineering approach, we would like to have just a macroscopic approach. If you just consider this course, we will be talking with respect to the macroscopic approach. We will not look into the molecular level behavior. We just need the behavior at the outer level. So we will only have macroscopic approach in this course. Now we will look at the definition of thermodynamic system, or sometimes it is simply also called as a system. Thermodynamic system or system. So now, if you want to study the behavior of any object or matter, so attention is focused on a particular quantity of matter. So matter is anything which occupies space. For example, if you want to, let us take an example of a practical problem, like if you want to install an air conditioner for this particular room, then air is upon which our attention is concentrated. So I want to study the behavior of air. So I want to study what happens, or what is the temperature of this particular air now, or what is the pressure of this room, or what happens if I open the door and close the door. So then our attention is concentrated on quantity of matter. So then that becomes my system. Remember the way we are defining a system. A quantity of matter is it can be air in this particular case, It can be like if you keep a hot, if you keep a coffee in an oven, then that coffee becomes our system, right? So on what you are trying to have a thermodynamic problem, in that case it is a coffee upon which your attention is focused. In air conditioner case, the air within this room is considered to be our attention. So it can be a quantity of matter or a region in space in the sense, the same example which we took, we can consider it as a region within this walls is our region in space. Space is a three-dimensional thing within which our attention is focused. It can be simply the air or within these walls what is happening. So that is how we are trying to define. It is quantity of matter or region in space, okay, quantity of matter or region in space upon which attention is concentrated in the analysis of a problem or thermodynamic problem. So basically in two of the examples which we said, we try to give whether it can be quantity of matter or region in space. So we have simply written it as an arbitrary shape. This can be like the way you want. It can be simply the square if you consider the room as a two-dimensional object. So it is an arbitrary shape which we are trying to denote. So this is a system. So this is the area upon which our attention is concentrated, and the everything external to the system we call it as surrounding. For example, the same example which we took, if you want to install an air conditioner for this room, air inside this room is our system, because the properties which are there, like pressure, temperature, which are the primary interest for me. So then air becomes our system. Then everything external to the system, so if you leave the system, everything external, we call it as surroundings. And the boundary is the one which separates system from that of a surroundings. So that is what we have tried to write. Surrounding is everything external to the system is called as surrounding. If my concentration is on air in this room, everything external to this room is called as surroundings. And in this case, the boundary can be the walls of this room itself. So surrounding is everything external to the system, whereas boundary is the system is separated by surroundings by a boundary. Boundary can be real or imaginary. In this case, it is a real boundary, that is walls are there, or you can just have an imaginary volume within which your attention can be concentrated. In that case, it is called as imaginary boundary. Boundary can be sometimes fixed. In this case, it is fixed, and it can also be moving. For example, in a piston and cylinder arrangement, if you consider the gas inside the cylinder as your system, piston may be moving. So in that case, boundary is moving. Now we will study classification of systems. Systems can be classified as closed system, open system, and isolated system. So while defining, we said that system can be a quantity of matter or a region in space. Let us consider first one as a closed system. We have just taken representing by an arbitrary shape. We are calling it as system. External to the system is boundary, the surroundings, and this the layer, imaginary layer, or a real one which separates system from that of a surrounding. We are calling it as a boundary. Closed system is also called as fixed mass system, where mass does not cross the system boundary. So mass will be remaining within the system boundary. So in that case, only energy can cross the system boundary. In that case, we call that as a closed system. For example, we have a fluid within this cylinder which is bounded by a piston. Imagine there are no walls, simply a cylinder which is there and which is bounded by a piston. Now if you try to compress or expand, fluid will remain within this boundary. So the fluid will be there within this boundary, means to say the mass is fixed, mass is not crossing the system boundary, but energy can cross the system boundary. Energy in the sense it can be in the form of a heat. You can add the heat to the system, or sometimes it may also lose the heat. If the temperature drops, we call it as the heat is lost. So this type of system we call it as a closed system. What is a closed system? A system which is also called as fixed mass system, where mass is fixed. On the other hand, energy can cross the system boundary. That type of system we call it as a closed system. The other type of system which we are discussing is open system. In open system, mass can cross the system boundary and also the energy. So for the best examples are like most of the engineering applications are of the type open system. For example, an IC engine. IC engine, what does it have? It has walls. During suction stroke, it takes in the air, right, or a charge. So during the exhaust stroke, the exhaust will be going out of the system boundary itself. That means to say mass is crossing the system boundary. You can quote many of the engineering examples. They are all of the type open systems only, just like the IC engine which we said. You can have a compressor. What is a compressor? Air is coming in at a lower pressure and then you compress the air. That means you are adding the energy. So energy is crossing the system boundary. However, mass is crossing the system boundary and air at higher pressure will leave the system boundary. So most of the engineering applications what you see in thermodynamics, they are all of the type open system. For example, it has to be classified at the beginning itself, because if you try to analyze a particular system at first you need to identify whether it is an open system or closed system. One more such example of an open system can be a water geyser. So cold water enters into the geyser and you leave it for some time, it gets heated up and then you draw the water from it. Now each time you draw the hot water from the geyser, the cold water enters into the control volume, or what you call it as the region in space. So if you analyze it as a closed system, you may go wrong. It has to be analyzed as an open system because mass is crossing the system boundary. And one more example for an open system can be, if you are trying to install an air conditioner for this room, you keep on opening the doors, right? Each time you open the door, the cold air or the outer atmospheric air comes inside. So that also has to be taken into account when you are trying to decide or design an air conditioner system for this particular room. So that means to say most of the systems in thermodynamics are of the kind open system. So example is an air compressor can be a best example of open system. And at last what you have is an isolated system. Isolated, as the name suggests, it is completely isolated. That means to say no mass or energy cross the system boundary. Then it is called as isolated system. Neither mass nor energy crosses the system boundary. Then we call it as an isolated system. A very good example of an isolated system is perfectly insulated thermoflask. Generally we say perfectly insulated because even thermoflask, even though it is considered as, it does not give away the heat to the atmosphere, it does at a very small rate. So that is why we are trying to quote here perfectly insulated. Otherwise we would have just said thermoflask. Even thermoflask is not a perfectly isolated system because if you keep the hot water inside it, after some time, or it may take a bit longer, 1 day or 2 days to come to the room temperature, but it is definitely losing heat. So temperature drops eventually. So it is not perfectly insulated. So if at all I want to call some body as an isolated system, it has to be perfectly insulated. So we are trying to say a perfectly insulated thermoflask for an isolated system. Thank you.